I am currently in Alpha Counter Mobile Unit 1. We are currently on the lam, and I cannot report my actual location for fear that I would be found. And,
Right.
and it's not like I'm in any real trouble. I just don't want to deal with y'all. I mean, just leave
Yeah,
me
well,
alone.
the fans have been hounding you for years now. For years.
Yeah, apparently they've been telling everyone else but me.
You're listening to Mating Habits of the Modern Geek, advice on love and dating within your own species. Are you having trouble finding that perfect geeky match? Do you need dating tips or relationship advice? If the answer is yes, you've come to the right place. I'm your host, Kelley Hightower, and in this podcast, we'll discuss the issues, answer your questions, and give you the skills you need to help you become better at dating.
Hello, and welcome to episode 113 of Mating Habits of the Modern Geek. I'm your host, Kelley Hightower. This episode is called Romance is Political. Can you date outside your party? If you're watching this on the Patreon level of the show, then this is a video, and you can see that we have with us today in his mobile podcasting studio, Sean Ryan of Alpha Counter. What's up, Sean?
This is Alpha Counter Mobile Unit 1, all currently on the road.
On the lam, watch
Hoping I don't get pulled. Yeah, exactly.
keep your eyes on the road.
And it's not even that I'm in any kind of trouble. I just don't want to deal with y'all. Just leave me alone. I just need quiet place to podcast. That's all I need.
It's the anime fans, man. They chase you down.
They do.
No, I appreciate you doing this. Seeing the trouble that you've had to go through to be able to podcast. It's just
Yes.
it's a
I
lot.
still have a very full house with
Mhm.
wife, child, and in-laws, and it's either they might disturb my podcasting or my loud mouth would disturb their sleep.
Well, I mean, we got to
So
keep
far, like I'm in this nice cone of silence that I think benefits us both.
right. We got to keep everybody happy if we want to keep doing this. So,
Right.
I want to make some fun Patreon updates. We have patrons in the Patreon now, which it's been launched for. It'll be a week on Monday. And so that's been very thrilling, and we've been getting to know some new folks over in the Discord chat. I'll remind everyone, if you want to become a member of the Patreon, we have 3 different levels. The first level is a $3 level, and that gets you access to the Discord. The second level is a $5 level, and that gets you access to the Discord and access to the audio chat in the Discord if you want to get together and play some games. And look at this. You can get
What
you can get a
is
sheet
that
of
even?
a sheet of mating habit stickers, and I'm going to try to get this to line up and be there's 2 logos and 2 quotes.
I,
That's
w- I would like you to try to get them into my hands.
well,
'Cause I'll take some fucking stickers. I love the buttons you guys had.
I'll
Take some
definitely
stickers
I
too.
definitely will. I'll set a sheet aside from you, but as the people who subscribe to the Patreon in this past week will soon receive via the US Postal Service, hopefully, you'll also get a thank you note with a handwritten thank you from me, and I'll seal it with some Star Wars stickers
Awesome.
because I'm on brand. There is also a $10 Patreon level, which is the biggest Patreon level we have right now, which will give you access to videos. Sometimes we'll video record the podcast. Sometimes I'm going to be doing videos. I'm really seriously considering doing some terrain assembly. Just watch me glue terrain together. I mean, what could be more fun and relaxing? Um, or other fun stuff. We we might get the crew together once COVID's done to do board games and stuff. So just keep watching. If you go to Mating Habits of the Modern Geek on YouTube, you'll be able to see previews and clips of those sorts of videos. If you join the Patreon, they'll show up in the Patreon feed, the full video. And yeah, and the Patreon is patreon.com/matinghabits. So get on that. It's a little bit of money every month to keep us in hosting. So I super appreciate it. We've been having a lot of fun in the Discord chat already. All the co-hosts are there except for one who I will have to, after we get off the Zoom call, explain to him how Discord works. But that's okay. I had to have it
I think
explained to
she's
me this
talking
week.
about me.
So soon you will be there. I'm also going to start, because we do Mating Habits every other week typically, and that seems to be the best I can do as far as co-host availability. But soon I will be, hopefully in the off weeks, be doing a solo cast, kind of like what you did with Hat Man in the morning. It won't be every day,
Oh
it'll
yeah.
be one. Um,
Hopefully it'll be a lot less depressing than mine.
well, that's the thing. I mean, I've gotta, find stuff that I want to talk about. It could be 15 minutes long, it could be 30 minutes long, who knows? I've got a new microphone that makes
Yeah.
podcasting from my couch in my lovely living room much easier. So hopefully I'll be able to, just kind of make sure something pops up in your feed every week. And hopefully people will like that. And if you want to suggest something you might want to hear me just wax poetic about, you can send that to moderngeekcast@gmail.com. But let's get to the haps and recaps, Sean. What you been up to?
Yes. I had a pretty nice Christmas. Nice and quiet here. First we had it at home with our immediate family, and then I went over to my folks to have a very huge, ridiculous Christmas. I don't know if you can see in the camera my snazzy, somewhat new jacket that my wife got me. Probably
How
the best
fancy.
gift I got. It is, but there's a funny story to it. I kind of already have this jacket. When I'm at work, they gave us like uniforms and stuff, but also they gave us these really nice jackets. And the jacket was lightweight. It fits super comfortable, and it's the kind that like as soon as you put it on, I don't care if I leave it in my work van overnight in the freezing cold. If I go outside and put it on immediately, I am instantly warm. It's
Wow, it's
amazing. I love
magical.
this thing. It is. It has like my name and the company logo on it and stuff like that. And I started liking it so much that I would start taking it out, like when we would go shopping and stuff. And my wife was saying, "No, don't, just stop it, Sean. Don't do that."
Oh,
And I'm
she didn't
like,
like
"But
you
I,
wearing because it had the logo?
no, yeah, because like you look like you're on the job, and it's not cool." I said, "I know, but I just like this jacket." So she one day she looked and found out the make of the jacket that I wear, and she ordered an exact one from the company, but just a different color.
Detective Vonne's on the case.
It's amazing. So it's like, great, I can still wear my awesome jacket when I'm off the clock and not get yelled at.
Well, I mean, that's how you make relationships work, people.
It's compromise.
It's
And so
compromise and work around.
exactly. But then after Christmas, we went up to take a nice, safe trip in the mountains. Went snow tubing. Kid got to play in the snow for a bit. It was awesome.
That I saw the videos from that. It looked a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, the kid just wanted to live up there. She was asking us, "Can we live here?" And she was talking not just in the town. She was saying, "Can we live here at the snow tubing place?"
Well, I mean, you could technically until they caught you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we've been promised snow twice this week and have received zero snow. I'm irritated.
Yeah, we got it for like I think a few minutes last night, at least in my area.
I
But
got
it was
nothing.
like yeah, like and then a month prior we had it again for another like 7 minutes and it stopped.
I'm
But
real
then
irritated.
the way North Carolina weather works, I always explain that like North Carolina weather is like a stoner because it'll be like the end of February and then Mother Nature's going to nudge North Carolina and it's going to go, oh man, oh shit, okay, it's still winter. All right, snow,
Right. Here's a
all the
foot.
snow.
Here's a foot of snow.
Exactly.
You put your winter coat away, got to bring it right back out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a little bit, it's a little bit irritating because I was expecting snow. The grocery stores, I didn't go for the past 3 days because I knew that North Carolinians would be getting their supplies to make their milk sandwiches.
Yep.
Um, because they buy up all the bread and all the milk, and apparently now, according to Roger, all the bananas. He took a picture of the empty banana stand at the Food Lion.
That's odd.
And I'm like, what are they? I mean, bananas are delicious, I guess. Like, I get it, but how many do you need?
No, what you do is you take the bananas, slice it up, toast it in the bread for a banana sandwich, and then dunk it in milk.
Is everyone like just old fat Elvis Presley? Like, why? Like,
Well,
why are
I
we
mean, we still
making?
have bacon in plentiful supply. I think we're all right.
Like, I do understand. I do understand the mentality of I'm gonna need a lot of milk and loaves of bread. Um, but this is the place
Yeah.
I'm from. The
Beyond that,
place.
not a whole lot's gone down on my end since the last time we podcasted. One of the things I got my family for a gift for us all, we got a Nintendo Switch.
Hmm.
So diving into that on the Switch and the PlayStation, the kids. Natasha has really been getting into video games, but she just absolutely has to play co-op for everything. She'll play a couple things some single player, but she's just insistent on the multiplayer. And it's fun unless she wants to do it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so she's been playing like the Untitled Goose Game. They had an update to make that multiplayer.
Oh,
They
that's
got
cute.
one of the It is, yeah. It kind of brings out the worst in her though, because we've kind of nicknamed it the Naughty Goose Game
Hmm.
because like it's like too long to say. It's the Untitled Goose Game, but we just call it Naughty Goose. Some of the games that I got for the Switch was like a Yoshi game she loves. I think it's Yoshi's Crafted World.
Hmm.
Um, just a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, she just loves playing co-op, and it's a cool thing to bond over.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad that she's gotten into that stuff because she can get good at video games, and then she can come join our Destiny team. Heck.
Yeah, now we're still trying to kind of help her out with like gaming manners of how to be a good winner and also to be a good teammate.
Oh, I got
'Cause
some
that's where
friends.
she
I
got
got
with all
some friends
this.
you want to explain that to. You can.
That's living through that for most of my life. That's why I'm kind of highlighting it at this point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we don't throw the controller. We don't rage quit.
No, and we don't bully your second player or become bossy, shit like that.
Yeah, no, no. That's. Oh, I mean, I sometimes do that, but but I understand that it's wrong.
Right.
Well, that's cool. I forgot to mention this on the show last time because we were so angry about Wonder Woman that we just had to get to it.
Yeah.
I have mentioned in the previous two episodes or the episode before that, I am also on another podcast. I'm on a bunch of podcasts right now, but the one that I can talk about is As the Dice Roll, and it is a sci-fi real play RPG podcast using the GURP system, and it's now available. So if you just go to your podcatcher and type in As the Dice Roll, there's actually 2 RPGs that are being played right now. There's mine, which is the Cautious Optimism, which is this sci-fi GURPS game, and then there's a 5th edition D&D game being played called the Horse Feathers Saga. And so I'm new to real plays. I it's not something that I have ever sought out because I want to play the game. I don't want to listen to other people play the game, but
Yeah.
people
It's a
are
good
enjoying it.
exercise in improv, I think.
Right. Well, and people enjoy it, and I'm enjoying playing it for sure. It's very PG. So if you want to hear me not curse, this is the show.
Well, I subscribed and now I'm immediately unsubscribing.
No, it's good. It's good.
I am already disappointed.
Yeah, no, it's just to see me like when I make responses and you go, that's not what she wanted to say. That's what she had to say. But that's available. There's also a YouTube channel. Apparently a lot of these role plays are just they're put on YouTube, and so people I guess listen to them in the background. I don't know. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm having a good time playing it. The group
Yeah,
that we're
however
playing with
people
is
enjoy and consume them, it's not wrong.
yeah, no, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, basically every other week I get to role play with Joe Hogan from State of the Geek and Geektitude, and a bunch of people from the Geek to Geek Network, and it's just it's fun. So if that's your thing, go check that out.
Mhm.
But yeah, other than that, I got nothing. I'm doing nothing but trying to stay COVID free.
Yeah, I'm trying to when I can catch up. Like Netflix just dropped a whole bunch of stuff I'm following. Like they have that Transformers show,
Hmm.
Earthrise, and I've been a huge Transformers fan since forever. That's a disappointment. I'm watching it anyway.
Oh, is it not good?
It is not good. Tell you what. Okay, I'm going to paraphrase a line from the show, and I want you to tell me which character you think it is. All
Okay.
right. This war has been going on for so long. It's no longer about good and evil. It's about our survival.
Uh,
Which character is that?
I'm assuming it's Optimus Prime. It's the only character I know.
Trick question. It's all of them. Every single one of them is saying the same doom and gloom. And like, I don't know why they have so many episodes. You can cut them down to 3 because everyone speaks with this labored pause in order to add weight and emphasis to the drama and the suffering. It's like, fucking, there's a period at the end of the sentence. Fucking find it.
I love how they're at a
Finale
meeting. They're at the Transformers meeting, and they're like, "Well, what is this show going to do?" Like, listen, the show has to have gravitas. Like that's
It's
I
it's got to
it's
be padded. That's what we got to do.
we've got 3 pages of script. We got to make 24 shows.
We're here to sell toys. We're only going to make character models for the toys. So there are several scenes where there's like 5 palette swaps of Mirage. May or may not be an Autobot or Decepticon, but by golly, we're going to fill the crowd scene with 16 side swipes.
I just, it's the stuff that we didn't ask for.
Right,
Like,
right.
like I think a lot of stuff now is just stuff we didn't ask for. Where it was like,
On the other side of that coin, though, a show that no one really wanted or needed that I've been watching is Cobra Kai. And it's like, yeah, this show is like corny as fuck, but it's also way better than it deserves to be.
well,
And I'm kind of hooked on it.
so I've seen other people review the show like on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've watched that, and from what they've shown, I'm like, I might actually watch this because, and I think it's just,
Yeah.
it might be the nostalgia effect. It might be the fact that these are, characters that I grew up with that, I had a VHS tape that I had taped off HBO that was a Karate Kid that had remember the HBO opening that was the model where you had like the where the camera would pan in and swoop up and it would be like HBO. Yeah, like so I mean, like it means something to me. And so when watching the clips from that, I was like, oh, I know all those characters.
The nice thing is that it does a nice balance of the fan service and developing the old characters. There's a lot of things, like if you watched the movies recently, and it's like I wasn't in love with the Karate Kid movies, but like I've watched them and I enjoyed them. I kind of got them for what they were.
Right.
So like there's plenty of that. There's at least a healthy portion of fan service. But one thing I like about Cobra Kai is a significant portion of that show is about the kids. It's the students of Cobra Kai and the shit that they go through.
Right.
And then how the adults from the movies kind of help deal with that and what they're going through.
Yeah, I saw lots of high school fights, like lots of like clips of scenes of people fighting in high schools.
Right. Yeah, like I think the season 1 finale has like the classic tournament scene that kind of ends pretty nice. But yeah, it impressed me that at the season 2 finale, they just go into a full entire high school brawl.
Right.
That was actually, it was choreographed fairly well. That I was kind of excited.
Like, where are the teachers? Like, what? Like, why is no one?
I'm not getting. If I'm a teacher, I am not getting in the middle of a 30-kid karate fight.
I
And
guess.
plus, they kind of address that in the season 3 premiere of why the teachers didn't get involved.
They just were like, we're gonna get our asses kicked. Let's not. We're not getting paid. We don't get paid
policy,
enough.
Yeah, it is school policy that teachers do not stand between 2 students in a fight. I'm like, all right, whatever.
What? What?
No, it's like I
wimpy
said,
teacher
it's
came up with
corny
that?
as fuck. Yeah, it's a corny show, not to be taken too seriously, but it's got enough heart, and it's just, again, this is a show that no one needed, but it's
Right.
better than it deserves to be.
Yeah. Well, no, I'll definitely. I think I'll have to check that out because I just binged a show on Netflix called Equinox, that is a Danish show, and it I finished it, and by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, well, I'm just thoroughly depressed. There's just something about
Need something to bounce back.
yeah, I'm just
Oh,
like,
look at new Transformers.
right. We can look and see what's up
This'll
in
be
the cartoon
kid-friendly.
world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've noticed here over my shoulder that Walter Beans has made a small appearance on the podcast.
Kitty cameo.
That's right. Every time you spot a cat, you get a point. But yeah, so well, moving on to the topic of the show. I mean, I can't not bring up the fact that we had a insurrection coup attempt earlier this week.
The timing of this topic was, I don't know if this was, you came up with this before or after this past week.
I came up with it after this past week because I figured I couldn't gloss over it.
Right. It's something that I don't know if you've covered in the past, but certainly, especially in the recent climate, it's something that we kind of have to cover for geese dating
Yeah, yeah, because
because it's something that's there.
well, and I mean, on behalf of anyone in other countries listening to this or watching this, sorry, I don't know what to say. It's embarrassing. It's shameful.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have happened. I don't know what the next 2 weeks will bring. This will actually go out a week from when we're recording. We're recording on Saturday night.
Hmm.
And this will go out not the week after the insurrection, but the week after that. So who knows? We might not even be here. I hope this makes it out to you people. Because we're living in uncertain times. But but yeah, I have so many questions. I have so much disappointment.
Did you say
And
what the topic was?
do what?
Have you said what the topic
I
is
d
for this
oh,
episode?
yeah, yeah. No, I did, but I'll say it again. So it's romance is political. Can you date outside of your party? And I'll post a lot. I've got a bunch of articles like last time, but I'm not going to go through them like I did last time because that podcast was really long. But I will put them in the show notes, and this is what we're generally because I gave them to you and we've looked over. They basically all kind of say the same thing. So,
Yeah.
some of them have like some really good scientific data. Some of them are like, this is a not so scientific poll, like so.
Right.
But I know for me personally, especially after the 2016 election, it became part of my identity that I would not date a Trump supporter.
Yeah, that's one of the first thing I thought of that regardless of all the data we're going to go over and ideas we have, I think Trump is kind of the exception. Like I think
Yeah.
it's fair to say if you support or voted for Trump, that could be a deal breaker
And
because this is unprecedented.
so much so, and what I found interesting was trying to reflect back. I tended to date. I'm a Democrat. If you've know this is your first time here, I'm a very, very liberal Democrat. Um, and I tended to always date Democrats or independents. I dated
Yeah.
a couple of Republicans, and it was never because for me it was always if you're a fiscally conservative Republican who thinks we should spend money in place X instead of place Y, that doesn't bother me at all. I mean, we're all allowed to be wrong. But if you were the sort of
It's like it puts some thought into it.
right, and that doesn't affect anyone's civil rights, that doesn't affect anyone's bodily autonomy. Those things
Mhm.
are things like I can always disagree or whatever about, we have money, this money, what do we do with it? That's
Yeah.
fine. But when it came down to like I would date a Republican, but I'd never date an evangelical because someone
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
I'm not religious and I don't necessarily believe in God. And so if that's something that's incredibly important to you and something that is part of your life, I don't see how we're ever going to see eye to eye because I'm never going to believe it. So, it's so if there was a moral component to it, I'll say, or something about like if you believed abortion was wrong, okay, lots of people believe abortion is wrong. I think in certain
Yeah.
circumstances, I believe abortion is wrong. But that's
Yeah.
fine. But if you say women should not be legally allowed to have abortions, now we have a problem. And so
Or at least have make the choice to if they need one or not.
exactly. And so now, so those are sorts of gray areas and you can sort of get around and that you might not find that out until like the third, fourth, fifth date. The
Yeah.
second that Trump got elected, it was the top line of every dating profile I had. If you voted for
Yeah.
Trump, do not talk to me. Don't speak to me. And by the time the second election came around, OkCupid had started to make these little widgets where you could say like who you were voting for. Like you could put Biden Harris 2020 on your thing. You could put Black Lives Matter right on your profile because it became such a polarizing event and something that was so a deal breaker. It was such a deal breaker.
It's the
And
thing one of the things you want to know first off.
right, like let's not even speak to each other. And like I feel like there's an argument about like, oh, well, you don't know what their side that it's a different sort of side. It's like for me, it's trying to argue why, you push children down in the mud. Like, I just don't wanna talk to you. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't feel the need to wait. We're not going to get along on such a fundamental level, and if you're like, "Oh, well, it's no big deal because 'cause I'm not, like, a Trump supporter, but I did vote for him." Well, now you're even worse because, like, now you just threw it away for no reason to me. Like, now I'm even more mad.
Now, it may be because I'm a dude, but I tend to, at least in the terms of Trump, I would tend to invoke the How I Met Your Mother rule of unless they're hot. Like,
Right.
I would not long-term date and certainly not marry a Trump supporter. I might fuck one over the weekend.
Well, so that
That's
is
fine.
well, sure. I mean, and that was actually
I've
one
got
of
the little investment here.
that was one of the things in one of the articles about how there were these different percentages and about how the majority of the Democratic Party is now being made up of young women, young Gen Z, young millennial women who are educated. They are waiting to get married, they're waiting to have children, and they're having careers and lives ahead of that. And
And
that
that's if
those
they have children.
do what?
That's if they have children at all. Some choose, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Hello. Although I'm an Xennial, but still, Gen X technically,
Yeah.
but still. So that those women or that the those women tended to be Democrats, and
Right.
they were giving no quarter to any Republican at all, and that they were like 67% more likely to just not even speak to someone who identified as Republican.
Right.
And like I get it, especially since they don't have I mean, I've got 40 years, or 39 years of experience of pre-Trumpness where,
Yeah.
there were Republicans who were totally wonderful people who were fine, and there still are. And I hope you get your party back. I really do, because we
Yeah,
need you.
that's how my parents are. My parents have been like lifelong Republicans. Like it
Right.
goes but once Trump came along, they're like, "Okay, we're not even going to the polls. We can't. We can't with this guy."
Yeah, and I
And it's
mean,
like
I
they're
I
not
get
even
it.
they're not super right-wing Republicans. They're kind of moderate Republicans, but still.
Well, and I noticed for me personally in the dating scene after Trump came along, a lot of independents or people who really were not invested either way, a lot of men became libertarian. And I think
Mhm.
they like the idea of being libertarian because it seems like, just get the government out of our business and people should
Right.
just get by on their own merit, which is interesting how they were all white men who came from middle class, upper class, or lower upper class families. They let's get by on our own merits. Okay. But in that, you had a lot, or found a lot of red pillars in that group, a lot of women haters, a lot of misogyny in that in the
Yeah.
libertarian side of things. And so I stayed away from that too. I'm like, look, if you don't have a nose ring, don't talk to me. Like, like, if
You
you
must be somewhat of a rebel, and not like a Confederate rebel, but
no, if you don't,
counterculture.
if you haven't tried to be vegan at least a couple times in your life, like we're not gonna get along. Like I can't, I need all the soy boys. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like super,
That
super
that now
nerdy, sensitive
needs
guys.
that needs to be your OK Cupid title now. I need all the soy boys.
I need all of them. I'm gonna need a couple too because I still eat meat. So,
Yeah.
but, but yeah. So I know even before Trump, it was a difficult issue, but I know in post Trump times, it is a huge deal breaker for people. Um,
Right.
there was in one of these, I think it was the Rewire article, they talked about how funnily enough Democrats were like, we're definitely not dating any Republicans, and Republicans were like, I might date a Democrat, which
Yeah.
me it suggests something to me that
Well,
maybe they
no, that's so like the article. One of the things that really stood out to me and kind of made me laugh was the Pew Research article.
mhm,
I was reading through. That's the one that you guys can see in the show notes. That's the one that has like all the hard data with the percentages and like the real studies. The very end of the article made me laugh because it stated that the one thing they found was that Democrats are twice as likely to be single than Republicans.
right,
So I laughed and thought, no, that tracks. I mean, that kind of ranks up there with, get woke, go broke, sure.
right.
And it makes sense to me because people on the right who are shitty, they tend to be shitty quietly. But if even our own peers are any evidence to, people who are shitty on the left are openly shitty.
Oh
And it's no
God.
wonder why it's no wonder why they tend to be twice as likely to be single than a
Well,
Republican.
especially if you take into that the Democrats are the party of non-traditional values.
Mhm.
Lots of alphabet mafia, lots of the LGBTQ plus. You've got, like I said, women who aren't I say aren't settling, so they're waiting later. They're being real selective. You've got a group of people who believe in birth control. They believe in abortion. Therefore, they're not being trapped into marriages. They understand how to not get pregnant, which is still a reason why lots of people get married when they're young. So they're not getting so that's not happening to them. And
I would also argue that like they tend to also be angrier, and it's like that kind of sours things.
well, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. You say angry, I say
I mean,
holding people accountable. Like I'm not
no,
gonna
I
put up with
I'm
shit.
with you on that. I'm with you on that, but a lot of them do that, and they are shitty about it.
Well, we know a lot of we you and I personally we know a lot of shitty people. It's fine. Because I know
There's a
exactly who you're
comedian.
talking about. I know
No,
exactly.
there's multiple people, like people that we don't know like mutually that I've just encountered. There's a comedian that I love to steal her joke, but the joke is, do you guys ever have a friend who claims to be feminist but she's actually just an asshole?
Is it
And I'm like, yes, I have a few of these.
is it Eliza Schlesinger or is it Whitney Cummings?
It is Whitney Cummings.
Uh-huh. Whitney Cummings, who I often go, don't be a pick me, Whitney Cummings. Whitney Cummings will be a little bit of a pick me. Um,
Yeah,
a pick me girl. She wants to be one of the cool girls, and appeal to men, which is fine. Do your own thing. She's
yeah,
I follow all her stuff. She tends to have nervous breakdowns a lot.
yeah. I like her comedy, and I've listened to her podcast on and off.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
I get what you mean.
I love her assistant, Benton. I
Yes,
love him. I love him. Um, but
he seems your type.
yes, he really does. I want him to be my gay best friend. And he gets so vicious in his ask me anything Instagram things like that. I forget since everybody's doing these feeds and fleets and sprints and whatever in the hell and streaks and snaps where they do the like one video after the other that goes away after a while. He does a
Yeah,
lot of good ones of those on Instagram. Anyway, so
yeah.
so, so yeah, so these I tell you what, I'll pull it up. I'm looking at my phone. That's what I'm doing here, just scrolling around.
That's
Because
okay.
I honestly don't know if I can look at documents while I'm in a Zoom call and it not record me looking at documents.
This is why I went old school analog and printed one out.
No,
So I'm still
I
looking down, but
I should have. I feel like such a fool. But I want to talk about the Pew Research article. If you guys go
okay.
and look it up, I was telling Sean before we got started, I have a degree in science, and there's a graph at the very top that I don't understand what it means. There's so many variables and
It's too much
colors.
science at once.
Look,
Like,
what?
look, Kelly, this is
What's
this is n-
happening?
right.
Any of that means. So I just
Which one's the terror level that we're at?
right, I know. I'm like, are these paint swatches? There's too much data. I don't know.
Why is there a food pyramid on here?
We need Paris to be here with all her PhDs and she does graphs and stuff. So
She does big data.
she does big data. I'll get her to see what it is. To explain
This
it
data's
to
too
me.
big.
Look, I've spent the whole so shout out to Will Benson from Planes Talkers podcast. It's a Magic the Gathering podcast. He's joined on and has in the past 4 days been incredibly helpful in teaching me how Discord works. So sometimes I need things explained to me, okay? It's not for lack of trying, but no, like the they've got so much data in this, the demographic differences between like the races of different people and how they're settling down and how they're meeting other people and you know among Democratic daters, college grads also more resistant to dating a Trump voter and how that's broken down based on race and sex and stuff.
Right.
So it's super cool. Like check out this poll because I find it interesting.
It's super on brand for this podcast because this is like a nerd podcast for dating, and
Right.
nerds love data.
Yeah, like this is some interesting data. Also I feel like I might be shouting into a void because which I often do, because if you're a Trump supporter and you listen to me, why? Like, you can't, yeah. I'm
I
assaulting you all the
assume it's
time.
like I assume it's the Howard Stern thing of like people who love him want to hear what he's going to say next, but then also people who hate him still listen to hear what he says next.
Maybe I'm out there just infuriating somebody. Hey, if I infuriate you for a certain amount of
Yeah,
money, I'll send a video of me, like, yelling it at you personally. Like, I'm really,
good old
really,
good old William actually is just standing there, just waiting and listening to make a comment somewhere to at you. He's going
he's
to slip
doing
in
his
your DMs.
glasses. He's putting his glasses back up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. At this point, I might end up dating him. The point is, um, so, so, so what's the solution, Sean? How are we going
That's
to
one
fix
thing
it?
that that's one thing that I liked about two of the articles that you gave me links to, including the rewire one.
Hmm.
That they at least seemed very positive and constructive of how to go about how other couples do it and how they make it work, and how if you want to dip your toe in it, try it out to see how it works for you. And at least in the rewire one, they had two major points that I gravitated towards. One is if you're introduced to someone who voted for the other party or whatever the opposite party is, talk with them, get to know them, and at least find out why they voted that the way that they did. If it's just like they're going along with the propaganda
Hmm.
and all the rhetoric, then okay, this person's an idiot and possibly just hateful or whatever it is, you can write them off. But at least if they have some articulation of why they went the route they did, at least listen to that. You can still say, nah, I can't go that route, but at least give them a chance of proving that they're not an idiot.
Right.
Also, um, at least see how far that conversation can go before it gets too heated. If you guys can have a civil discussion, disagreement, but you guys are still cool and fuck at the end, then that may work. I mean, it may work out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine if Chris Evans was like, "Hey, I'm a big Trump supporter, but let's go in this other room here." Like, I'd be like, "I didn't hear the first part. Let's do it."
It's like, but I have these abs.
God, he's so beautiful. Um,
Yes,
but
he is my man crush. No
he,
shame in that.
as he should be. He's the best of the Chris's. Um, and
But
I'll
as I was thinking about it,
no, I was good. I was just going to talk more about Chris Evans. Go ahead.
okay, we'll save that for after the podcast. But as I was thinking about it and reading through these articles, I was thinking that really it's kind of subjective if you're going to the dating scene and politics is a factor. It depends on how passionate you are about your own politics, about your own issues. And it's like I said, it depends on how much it matters to you. If you're really strong about I will not date a Democrat, I will not date a liberal, then all right, that's a whole swath of people you don't have to worry about.
Right.
But if you're like me, I consider myself kind of politically agnostic. I listen to whatever the candidates are and what their issues are, and I may not get everything that I want, but I tend to vote for and lead or at least support the one that will at least make the best compromises.
Right.
Because again, like Trump is kind of an exception, but in the 2016 election, I honestly, full disclosure, I was not really feeling it for Hillary. I had a lot of reasons not to like her.
Sure.
And there is a timeline close to our own that if the Republicans had a strong enough candidate, I might have voted that way.
Yeah.
But as our reality turned out, I am not going to vote for that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't think I know anyone who was jazzed about Hillary. I was jazzed
Right.
about the idea of having a female president. Um, but no, I wasn't particularly jazzed about Joe Biden. Am I happy it's Joe Biden? 1000%.
Because
I
I'm not going to
actually
vote for that guy.
no, well, and I mean, I sent campaign money to two candidates. The first one was Kamala Harris because I liked her
Mhm.
the best. And then when she dropped out, I said, well, sending money to Elizabeth Warren because I liked her the
Right.
second best. And then
Yeah.
after that didn't work out, I was like, well, I will vote for a bowl of old hair.
Yeah.
Whatever you run, I'm going to vote for it. You going to run Bernie?
I mean,
Love it.
seriously,
Whoever.
like the Democratic nominations could have been fucking Bulk and Skull, and I still would have voted for them over Trump.
Exactly. It could have been me. I mean, with the exception of like maybe Charles
And I
Manson,
think
I'd have been like, I'm going to sit it
they
out.
still would have won the election.
Well, I mean, that
It could have been
yes,
Bulk and Skull 2020 and still be a landslide.
yeah. I mean, I'd have voted. But yeah, no, I get that, and my thing too is, and just because you're in the same political party, or you agree on most stuff, it doesn't get you off the hook. I, have heard my friends who are independents and Democrats, be completely anti-Trump, and that's great. But then they'll talk shit about, Nancy Pelosi, and they're not talking shit about like, I can't believe she did this thing. I had someone refer to her as, oh, that Nancy Pelosi, she keeps running her cock holster, and I'm like,
What the
we're
fuck
not.
does that even mean?
Well, I mean, because apparently any woman who they disagree with, their mouth is just a place to hold their cock.
Oh,
And that bothers me because it's like, don't,
okay.
why, how misogynistic can you be? And then they're like, oh, well, I would never say that about you. And I'm like, you better fucking not. So I'll beat your ass. Like that.
Because I know
What
where you live.
Right, like, I thought what a horrible thing to say about someone, and
Right.
so that in and of itself, and that's someone who's, an independent, that's a red flag of, "Okay, well, I know how misogynistic you are, and I'm out," you know? So, it's not. I think there's certain things that are more, especially with Trump, but you're right, he throws the whole schematic just kinda off kilter, but I
Yeah,
think
I'm
there's.
trying to talk with the context of like if Trump either didn't happen or if let's say this is 2014 that we're having this discussion.
Right. If we're having this discussion as baby mating habits co-hosts, and
Right.
in 2014 when we were children, so long ago, like it was a whole different ball game because then it came down to, what, like I was saying before, like, is this a religious thing? Is this a are you on that side that Democrats pick up, which is this like anarchist, anti-government,
Yeah.
you're not going to tell us what to do. Like, well, yeah, everybody, we all have to follow the law. Like, we all have to do the things we're supposed to do. Like, we can't burn, like we
Yeah.
did this week, we can't burn stuff down because we're mad, you know?
Do you
Like,
care about what's actually going on or are you just angry or afraid?
right. And if you were angry, fine. If you're afraid, let's talk about it and let's figure out a way to make you less afraid or to fix things
Yeah.
or that way. But, if the argument is, I want for my taxes to go more towards food stamp programs because I can't stand the idea that there might be people who have food insecurity in my country, and you
Mhm.
think that's a waste of time because people just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, we've got an issue. If you think it's not a good way to spend the money because if we spend it at this other point, it makes it where there's fewer people on food stamps. Okay, let's have that discussion. I can be
Yeah,
brought over to that side.
yeah, the
You
key
know,
is to make sure that these people can afford bootstraps.
well, I mean, I don't even know what bootstraps are.
I mean, that's kind of if I'm using their metaphor, it's like I got to pull it up by your own bootstraps. Like, well, some people don't have bootstraps.
Yeah, yeah, and that's something that I think everyone should have to go to their local court system one day, back when you're allowed to go in as a once the pandemic's over, and just sit and watch the plea bargain and sentencing prospect, and you see these young people, men,
Mhm.
women, white and black, Latino, and they all of them dropped out of school at 10th grade or lower. All of them have, no jobs, no nothing. And it's this idea of, it's kind of like that quote that, like there but for the grace of God go I. I had parents who made me stay in school. I had, a network of people who would have supported me had something gone wrong at home, and my parents lost their jobs and I had to get a job. Like, someone would have made sure that I still finished school and that I stayed on the straight and narrow. And these people didn't have that. And so
Yeah.
it's this idea of like, like, yes, they've committed crimes and these are criminals and they need to pay for those crimes. But luckily in the district I work in, we've got judges who are like, while you're in, jail for these 2 years, you're going to get your GED. Like, that's part of your jail condition is you have to
Mhm.
complete it. And
Yeah.
so like this idea of like, we're going to force you to take these opportunities so that when you get out of jail, you're not going to have that as an excuse. Like, you're going
Yeah.
to have some sort of marketable skill. And so like having arguments about things like that, if you're coming from the right place, we can argue all day long amicably about how to fix things. But if your argument for me is that things can't be fixed because of certain people, or if your argument is, well, if you just, My favorite is I got lots of friends who are very much into the survival of the fittest, and they like and there's a lot of my libertarian friends are like, oh well, the free market and just let it be what it'll be. And I go, you don't understand. You're not thinking. I'm thinking of how I can take advantage of you. The
Yeah,
reason we don't let things just happen the way they should happen is because of people like me. It's like
yeah,
because if we didn't have any government interaction, I would be cheating you, I'd be stealing from you, and you might be a good person, but it's the key. It's like it's the Rorschach thing. Like I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me, man. Like you need these
yeah.
laws to
It's
protect
only
you.
a couple steps. It's only a couple steps away from like Mad Max.
Exactly. Like, and you don't want that because
West is what you want.
right, I'll probably cook and eat you. Like that's just like, I have no qualm about that. Like let me warn you about how people like me in this world exist. Like
Yeah.
you need some sort of structure and some sort of regulation.
If you're setting up the Libertarian Club, do you want someone like me in your
Yeah.
club?
No.
Think about that.
Yeah, no, you don't. I'm telling you.
And
I'm
as like you said, it's like you guys are trapped here with me.
right. Like
I'm
yeah,
gonna
like
become a problem.
yeah, I'm gonna be a real big problem. And it's just I'm not the only one. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I mean, hopefully, you
Well,
know,
there's a couple other points that I got thinking about, and I think that also depends. This situation, it depends on how old you are, like where you are in your life, because this kind of problem is a lot easier when you're younger. If you're a teenager right now or in your 20s, you're probably not looking to like settle down and find the perfect lifetime partner anyway. So you have a bit more flexibility of like how much the politics matter to you.
right,
Uh, so you could be in a point where like, well, I wouldn't marry a Trump supporter, but I'd fuck one also.
right.
Um, so yeah, you're not really thinking about marriage. If nothing else, you may experiment, I guess, quote unquote, dating some of the other party just as a firsthand educational adventure, just to at least see what their headspace is like, so you can apply it to when you're older and actually looking for a life partner.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I think one or two. Go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
I was gonna say another thing that a couple of the articles brought up was the question of how would I feel if my child were dating someone from the other party, and I had to think about that because
Oh,
obviously I
yeah.
have a child.
Right.
That because like how are we going to have Thanksgiving? How are we going to have those dinners when my daughter brings someone over, and we have to actually have a discussion about things of substance. And I thought that if my daughter were dating someone who was on a differing side of politics by any degree, I think that I would be concerned, but I'd be mostly worried about not so much the threat level of the other person. It's
Right.
how it would affect my kid. Like if it's hurting them, or if they're kind of drinking the Kool-Aid and getting into the propaganda and turning them into a hateful person.
Mm-hmm.
That I would be concerned with my child's welfare and not with them dating someone who's different. And if nothing else, like I said, if they're young enough, I can just chalk it up to the other person just being young and stupid. Like this may be something they grow out of, or this other person may be someone that my daughter grows out of.
Yeah. I mean, more than likely, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a concern, but it's really how I focus where the concern is, and it's on the welfare of my child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where it should be. I remembering back, as I had no siblings and I never especially when I was younger, I never dated anyone who could even remotely be considered not a liberal. Um,
Yeah.
funnily enough, one of them is now a QAnon conspiracy theorist who's gone ultra religious and now lives out in the woods. So that's great. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm glad I heard that last part.
yeah, yeah, it's great. Um, I don't check their Twitter every day to make sure it's safe to go outside, but to
Yeah.
make sure they're not planning an attack. But but yeah, the when I had other relatives, cousins my age or whatever, who would bring over new people they were dating or people that they were engaged to or married to. I
Yeah.
can hear my mom right now saying, we're not talking about politics. Like we're just not talking about it. And someone would bring it up to sort of try to like, like stoke the fire. And she'd be like, nope, we're not talking about it. It's no, we're not bringing it up because uh, I've seen her
It's
lose
like
her
we're trying
shit.
to like this person.
Right. Like we're trying to not just eviscerate you, you idiot. Like, and so I've seen her get in, in other people's houses. I've seen my mother stand up at a Thanksgiving table, be like, "You're an idiot, you're dumb, and you're wrong." And I'm like, "Okay, calm down." Like, and so like we don't. This isn't helpful.
Just pass the cranberry sauce, please. Can
Yeah,
we
like,
wait until we finish the pie before you start throwing food?
right? Can we just go home? Like, this is not worth it. But yeah,
Can I get a couple extra scoops of the mashed potatoes before you throw the bowl at their face?
don't throw that. That's good. Just don't ever desecrate the mashed potatoes, man.
No.
There's a reason for living. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll never have children, so I'll never have to be concerned about such a
Yeah.
thing. But it's something to consider, because then you're also like you're saying, like, what, like, if that person is if it's a super negative political view, you're like,
Mhm.
don't radicalize my kid. Like, why are, or
Right.
you're talking to your kid, like, why are you into this? Like, he's not all that cute. Like, like he's no Chris Evans. Um,
Right.
but, but yeah, no, that's a that and that was an interesting thing in the articles. My favorite, one of the articles that I I think it was the last one, talked about the two people in somewhere in government. They weren't senators or congressmen, but they were somewhere, and they were, one was a Democrat, one was a Republican, and they met each other and fell in love. They were young and working in
Right.
in government, and how they had to keep it a secret. And basically at the end of it, they got married and had kids, and they're like, "So how do you make it work?" And essentially it's like, "Well, one of us has to lose an argument." Like, what, like like essentially one of them is oppressed. Like, that's how it works. Like, and they seem to be fun,
Yeah.
and they seem to not be
It's
too,
called compromise.
yeah,
That's
like
what marriage is, really.
like somebody's not going to be happy all the time, and that's just the way it
Exactly.
works.
As long as there's still love at the core,
Right,
then yeah,
right,
they
right.
make it work, and it's their business.
Well,
Like,
and
that's
two,
another thing. I see a lot of people, especially who are in the public eye, who will date outside of their politics or culture or anything. And people on social media, of course, get up in an uproar about it. I'm like, it's not your business.
no, no.
Like, even if they were like one of them was super abusive to the other, it's like I feel for them, but it's not worthy of my discussion. It's not my business.
Well, I think too. I think there are people who like to
I can't hold
argue.
them to a different standard.
True. Well, there's some people who might enjoy it because they like to argue. There are people who enjoy the act of arguing and the act of debating.
Yes.
I'm not one of them. Um, I don't like it at all. Uh, I like for it to be completely silent 94% of the time.
Yeah.
But which is why it's so hard for me to find someone. Will you come live at my house and just sit in the corner and shut the fuck up? Awesome. Because I don't care about what you're thinking. Um, but, but yeah, like I think that there are people who might enjoy that sort of like banter and like, that sort of back and forth. It's not for me. Um,
Mhm.
but I
I'm
know.
just thinking of like make commenting on other people's relationships. I think that's tacky.
Well, I mean, like, if they're a close friend of mine, I can comment on the relationship. I'm not gonna comment on Facebook, but I might pull the
Yeah, I was gonna
the
say,
the friend
if
I'm
they're close
closest.
friends, you have some kind of investment, but I'm talking about like strangers
Oh,
on
no.
social media.
No, I don't. No, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Well, is there anything else we need to talk about? I mean, we didn't solve anything.
No, I think the couple articles like the Rewire one are really positive and constructive, and I would encourage people to look at those because they actually give they kind of guide you to the attitude you should approach if you
Hmm.
want to be more successful in dating and kind of broaden your horizons without just falling apart.
Right.
I think that's a positive thing to end with.
Yes. Well, good. Okay.
There is hope,
There's
and it's
hope.
also up to you.
It's very, it's very, the more you know. Um,
Be the change that you want to make in
that's
someone
right.
else.
That's right. So, are you ready for table flips?
I am ready, Kelly.
Table flips. So,
Ladies first.
my table flip. Okay. Did you ever watch Attack on Titan? Are
I
you even
watched the
aware?
first season and just kind of dropped off because I just started watching other stuff and never got into it.
So, it's one of the few anime that I watched. And
Mhm.
after about season 2, I could not figure out what was going on. I mean, like, I knew what was happening in the show, but I'm like, I don't know where the Titans are from. Like, nobody's telling. We're not getting to it. So I went and read the manga.
Yeah.
Pardon. All the weebs just been like like nails in a chalkboard.
Wait, you read the comic books?
Yeah, I went online and read them. I didn't pay for them. But yeah, I went through and like, just to get to the story, like to figure out what was happening. They're not very long. And I mean, like it was fine. The story's kind of weak, but it's fine. I mean, like it's just kind of made up out of nowhere. There's 17 different subplots. Great.
Yeah.
I still thought it was a beautiful anime because it's just I found it to be terrifying the first time I watched the first episode, and the colossal titan is like just peeking over and you're like, oh shit. Like I thought
Hi.
that was great. And the scouts flying through the city streets and the trees and all that with the jetpack booster ropes and the swords. I was like, this is great. Like that's why I watch it.
The big razor blade Spider-Man.
Yes, it's fantastic. So the final season 4 is airing right now.
Mhm.
And like I said, I know what happens. I know the story. They've diverted a little bit from it in the anime. But like but I know all the origins and whys and whats. The halfway through last season, the end of season 3, it's just so much about politics. And I'm like, throw some titans on here, like do some stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is a final season, and we've gotten, I think there's 4 episodes that have been released on Netflix or Hulu. And there's yet to be a Titan. Like it's just all politics, except now it's from the enemy side. And so there's all these new characters. I don't know who in the hell they are. It's like 17 different blonde boys. I don't know who's who. They're doing flashbacks about young people from the first one. I don't know who's talking. I'm like, what's going on? And there's no scouts. There's no scout regiment. There's nobody flying anywhere. It's just these just blonde children trying to be titans. And from the other side, where there's the whole parallel between like, the whole, it's all German, and there's the, talking about anti-Semitism and all that sort of stuff in it. But I would like to see titans and scouts fight. Like that's what I'd like to see. It's the final season. We're 4 episodes in. I've seen none of it. I'm irritated.
You want the scenes where you have like, your action figures clashing up against each other.
Right. Like, could you please, like, we get it. Marley is bad. Like, we get it. Like, could you just have some Titans fight? Like, it's driving me nuts. And so, like, I'm literally now fast forwarding through the episodes, so, like, so I can see the little screen and be like, nope, nobody fights in this one. Just a bunch of talking in brown suits. I'm irritated. I just what? Who drew this? Who thought they'll love this? This could have been one flashback in one episode, and we'd have gotten the whole story, and the rest of it could have been, Aaron and Levi flying through the thing and cutting up people, and they're doing none of it. And so my table flip is over that. Listen to me, people who produce this.
Well, Kelley, I will save you with a recommendation.
Okay.
There's an anime you need to watch. It's on Netflix, made by Netflix. It's called Baki the Grappler. And that is a bunch of muscle boys punching and solving their problems with punching. And it's all about who can do the best punching. And there's bullshit, mysticism, and science behind their punching. But damn, that's some fine punching.
Best punching.
And it's the best. And they're all so pretty. You would love them. And they're large and lumpy. And it's ridiculous.
I'll give it a try. Because after I loved Free. And I loved what was the ice one? What was the ice skating one?
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, but I don't remember the name of it.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I like all the mainstream anime, and I like other anime too. I just don't have time to sit around and watch. So some of them are like 48 episodes per season, and I'm like, I don't have that kind of time.
If you just want to check your brain at the door, just watch Baki the Grappler. I'm like, okay, I'll accept everything that's happening.
This is fine. This is fine.
Okay, yeah, this is totally fine.
So what's your table flip?
My table flip is about age verification, and it's something that I wrote down in my own show notes, and then once again re-experienced when I was setting up my Zoom account to talk on this podcast. So, you know how when a website has an age verification, some of them are really nice. They let you just type in the month, the year, and whatever the month, the date, and the year, and bam, really quick and easy. But for most sites and apps, they have either like a Dropbox or it's like some kind of scroll wheel you can go through to set up your date of birth. So I go in and all right, first wheel, set up the month. Brrrt, done. Now my birth date. Brrrt, done. Now I get to the year. I am in for a long scroll. My finger is starting to ache. And it's, the first two wheels, the month and the day, those never change. For the entirety of my life, I will be scrolling the same amount for those two factors. But the longer that I live, the longer the third wheel gets. And
Wasted
my thought
precious
is
time you don't have.
precisely, and it's making me sad and frustrated. And it's like, why am and then sometimes while I'm scrolling through the years, I'll like have a brain fart and zone out, and suddenly I'm in 1921. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go back the other direction now. So my thought is, here's a solution for everyone who works in app or web design. We are now in the year 2021. Instead of having scroll wheels, have a single tick box says, I was born in the 20th century. That way, everyone who was born in the year 2000 and prior can save a lot of time and heartache and sadness.
That's a good
And
idea.
you still get that age verification because I mean
You
they're
clicked
just,
it.
but they're really just yeah, exactly. I mean they're just trying to verify that you are not a minor.
Right.
We're in the year 2021. It's been 21 years since 2000. If I was born in the 20th century, covers all bases for
It's
all
a
ages. Exactly. That works for me, you, some people who are kids' age, certainly our parents' age.
yeah.
The majority of people who are using these apps and websites now, a single CAPTCHA tick box, like put next to the one that says, I am not a robot.
Yeah. I'm not a robot and I'm old as hell.
I'm not a robot and I was born in the 20th century. Done.
Look, I love it. And you talk about when we get done with here and I hook you up with Discord, you're gonna get this Discord is not safe for work. Because if you're not 18 or above, I don't need you on my Discord. So I don't need you in my Patreon.
It's okay because I was born in the 20th century.
Exactly. But with that, it's like this is not safe for work. Are you cool with
Right.
that? Are you old enough? And they're like, and you just click yes, and that's all I'm gonna do. But no, that's
Well,
a
I
good
am a
point.
robot who is cool with that.
Hey, that's fine. But yeah, no, that's a good point. It gets depressing too because you're just scrolling for forever. And
Yeah,
you're like,
I'm wasting valuable seconds that I have less and less of every time I encounter one of these things. The years keep going by, the time keeps slipping away. I'm having less and less time to waste on scrolling through the goddamn age verification.
it's like, look, they let me buy wine at the food line. Just let's go. But well, that's a good table flip. I agree.
Thank you.
As you know, because you filled out the show notes, we're starting a new thing. I'm starting a new thing where we're gonna write the tables with some good old Danish hygge, some good warm feelings. And this episode, my good warm feeling comes from these Etsy creators who are blowing it out of the water with their packaging. And when you order something from them, like if you order earrings or something cute from them, they're going so far as to have all the beautiful tissue paper and things are hand tied. They've got wax seals now that they're putting on stuff. So when you open up this little treasure that you've paid this small business to make, they're throwing in Werther's Originals. We're getting treats out of the box, handwritten thank you notes, stickers, and like I said, like just the most like raffia tie with the little wax seal. It makes me feel like an important princess person. I'm getting a treat as far as the thing I bought, but I'm also getting treated like royalty, and like I get to open this presentation, and it just warms my heart. I love it. If you have an Etsy shop or some sort of small business, I will continue to buy things from you if you take this little extra step. It's just it's amazing. So
It's almost as if people will pay just a little bit more for a better quality product.
or for a better experience, absolutely.
Precisely, yeah.
People
These are
like me
people who
will.
actually give a shit
Right.
about the end user result instead of just, okay, how cheaply can we make this mass produced thing to fill whatever like check box that the consumer needs.
Right,
And then
right,
it's just going to break or fall apart later and they'll just buy another one from us.
right. And you know how much I love Amazon and appreciate our Google and Amazon overlords. Like they'll just throw a box, have nothing, no nothing personal, no nothing, not even a receipt anymore. Like, you don't even get a receipt in Amazon boxes anymore because they're like, you can
Yeah.
figure it out. But yeah, to get like this nice little package with like, and sometimes they'll write on the outside of like the package envelope, like, thanks, Kelley. Hope you're having a
Yeah.
wonderful day. That's it. Like I'm gonna go back and buy more stuff from you because I like that little extra personal touch.
It's
But
the charm of small business.
exactly.
Thankfully, it's not a lost art yet.
Not yet. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully with all the small businesses and people doing stuff like that, it'll continue on. Little
Mhm.
cutesy shit. I love it. But yeah, what's your good feeling moment?
Uh, I struggled a little bit with it because in these dark times, I'm always trying to find the rays of light, and there was so many to choose from. So I just picked the thing that came to my mind most recently, and it's some of the shows that I'm discovering that my kids watching
Mm-hmm.
that I'm seeing. It's like, oh my god, this is actually a good quality show. Like I feel good as a parent putting my kid in front of this TV show. And the most recent one that my kids fall in love with that I'm kind of loving as well. It's a show called Bluey. It's a show that we found on Disney. It's also on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a little blue dog, and it's a dog family, and it's made in Australia, so everyone has a really charming Australian accent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little like blue dog. She's supposedly like 6 years old. She has like a 4-year-old little sister, and then the mom and the dad. And as I'm watching it, I'm looking stuff up about it, and the direction that they go with this show that makes it so great. It's not the same old quasi-educational show where here's where you're going to learn about numbers, or here's where you're going to learn about countries of the world, or here's where we're going to learn about giraffes. The sole focus of these stories in Bluey is just showing the kids playing with each other, playing with the parents. So you get a sense of imagination between the characters, but also you see how children relates to each other and how they can solve that. But as a parent, I get a lot out of it because I see how the children and the parents relate to each other, and it's like, oh shit, I want to be that kind of dad from this
Aw.
fucking Australian cartoon dog show. That's a dog. That's a dad that I want to strive to be.
I want to
And
be
it's
an
just
Australian cartoon
really
dog dad.
right. So it's a good guide for kids how to deal with other kids, but it's also a great guide if you're a new parent or even like a veteran parent to watch to relate to your own children. And I thought
Oh,
it's just a beautiful show. That's like the episodes are short, but they're also really cute and clever. And I just fell in love with it. And
that's so
I think it's
sweet.
great, and more nerds should watch it.
All right, well, I'll pass it along to my parent friends.
Hmm.
You have to watch this show. Well, good. Well, so I feel like we've been talking so long that that they're gonna find your location and you're gonna have to speed away. So
Oh shit! I'll have to go down the block.
that's right. They're on to you. They know. So I'm gonna do the outro here.
I'll have to go to the parking lot of a different Applebee's. Oh shit!
No,
Said too much.
I know. Now they'll definitely know. Um, if
I'm sorry.
you
I meant TGI Fridays.
do they even exist anymore?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yes, and I'm at one.
Look, I'll say it here, and I don't care who knows it. Ruby Tuesday is the best salad bar that's ever existed, hands down. I don't give a shit what you think. You can take your Chili's, you can take your Applebee's. Ruby Tuesdays is mine because I got the good salad bar.
That's a Kelley stamp on it.
That's right. It's called. You can get beets on the salad bar. That's fancy. It's delicious.
Also,
um,
eat beets.
what?
Also, eat beets.
Yeah, no, beets are
They're
good.
good for you.
They're good for you. They taste like dirt, but delicious dirt.
And they change your pea colors.
You will change your beet for fun.
Oh yeah.
Do I have a kidney infection or did I just eat some beets? Uh,
No, just beets.
just beets. Just being healthy. So if you want to email us, you can email us at moderngeekcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Mating Habits. You can subscribe and please do on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Podcatcher, any other Spotify, any of these places. If you want to go see all the show notes in a way that you can click on them on your computer and not your phone, you can go to matinghabitsofthemoderngeek.com, and you can leave us a rating on iTunes. It would be helpful. If you don't want to do that, you can just tell someone about the show. Just share it with a friend who, you know, might be into this type of stuff. And there's still stickers left. There's still spaces left. We're getting down and dirty in the Discord, having fun, chatting with co-hosts, sharing memes. If you want to join the Patreon, it's patreon.com/matinghabits. And I would definitely appreciate it. So this was fun. I can't wait to do more
Yes.
episodes with you from your mobile podcast studio.
Hopefully I will be able to do it more often if we get the setup right.
Yes, it will see. Fingers crossed this recorded.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.